Hi, Greg Hughes here from 90-Second Website Builder. Welcome to another quick start video. In this particular episode, I'd like to show you how to use what we call a jQuery theme or a page theme. There are certain objects on your page that are affected, at least the way they look, are affected by what's called a page theme. And I'm going to show you how that works. So I'm going to move the camera over just a little bit, over to the edge here to the toolbox, where we can see where we have some jQuery objects. Now, a jQuery UI, that means jQuery user interface, these are objects that happen to use a certain kind of programming language called jQuery. And so they operate a certain way. In fact, each of these objects requires a set of files to be on your server in order for them to work, because they're sort of animated and then they have interesting functionality. Well, 90-Second Website Builder takes care of putting all those files in the right spot for you when you publish. But because they have these files, they're more complex, and because they're more complex, they can do fancy things. So let me just take a couple of these items. We won't talk about all of them. But just as an example, I want to show you how their look or their layout is affected by a common page theme. So for example, the jQuery accordion object, and there's videos about this if you want to know about each of these items, if you want to know how they work. This is a jQuery accordion item. This is just a way of displaying content. And of course, we could edit this to be whatever we want. But I want to just talk about the look of it right now, not necessarily how to use this particular object, but just the look of it. And I'm going to do that with another. Let's take the jQuery tabs, another common one. And I'm going to drag that out here. In fact, let's make it be kind of like this. So that's a tab box. And we could add more items if we wanted to. And let's see. Let's use also a jQuery button. This is kind of a nice quick way to make a link button that links to whatever you want it to. If you wanted this to link to something, you double click on it and change it to a link button, and then pick the link that you want to link to. So you say I want to link to a website. We'll link to this one. Click OK. But how it looks is being affected or is dependent upon what's called a page theme. I'm going to F5 this so you can see kind of what these look like in live mode, if you will, or online mode. And you can see as I hover over, they all have this sort of blue color. And you notice they all have that. All of these objects share the same look. And they all function differently. This one displays content a certain way. This one displays content a certain way. This is a button that links to the website I just linked it to. I just clicked it, and it's taking us to this website. So they all do different things, but they look similar because they're sharing a jQuery theme. So then how do you fix that? Or how do you adjust that, I should say? It's not broken. How do you adjust that? There's a spot in your page properties, and remember, to go to your page properties, you right click on the canvas, particularly an empty part of the canvas, and go down to page properties. So let me do that here. I'm going to click up here so you can see. Go to page properties, and we're going to the style because we're going to affect the style of these things. And you'll see at the very bottom there's a theme. And there's several pre-built themes in the software. And there's little thumbnail examples of them, in fact, as you scroll through. Let me pick one that's markedly different. Okay, there's one called Cupertino. And if I click OK, all of my jQuery objects now share the Cupertino theme, which when we click F5 to see how it looks more like this. But you'll notice, again, they're all the same. So the hover factor, the color of a selected object is different. Everything is different, but they all share that same look, so that there is a commonality on your page, literally a theme that coordinates. So let's go back to the page properties. I'm going to do it up here so you can see a little bit better in the camera. And let's talk about these styles or these themes. First of all, there are several built-in themes, but you don't have to live with those themes. You can make your own. They're pretty easy to make. Or you can make your own from one of these themes. And I'll show you what I mean by that. We're going to do that by going to what's called the Theme Manager. So I'm going to click on the Theme Manager, and it shows me the name of all of the themes in here. If I click on one of these, again, I get that little thumbnail idea of what that theme is going to look like. But if you want to make your own theme for these objects, all you have to do is find one maybe that you kind of like the way it looks, and then you can adjust it. So let's use this mint chocolate one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this theme. So I click copy, and now I have a theme that I can make on my own. Now this one's called Copy of Mint Choc. I can change the name to Greg's theme if I want, or whatever. And I can go through and I can change all of these attributes, from the font's boldness, if it's italicized, the name of the font size. And that will affect all of these settings. how round the corner or the radius of the boxes is affected by this number. The background color of the header, the solid or the background mode, whether it's solid or not, the border color, border style, etc. All of these attributes are shown over here and are affected by the decisions I make here. So in other words, the text color for the default state is obviously this green, and you can see up here where it's green. The color of the icon I can even decide, which is right here. Or what it looks like when there is a hover state, when our mouse hovers over something, what the border is going to look like is shown here. So you have a lot of settings you can change and literally customize and make your own theme, okay? I think you get that. I'm going to cancel out of here. I'm not going to go ahead and make a copy of Mint Chalk. I've actually made some of my own themes. So here's one down here I call Blackwire. The name of my company's Blackwire Marketing, so I called it Blackwire. So let's go and look at what I did. I'm going to click Edit this time and show you I made one that's kind of a black and white for a particular website that I wanted, and it just has a real subtle sort of red icon color that I put here, which you might be able to see very subtly. But I just basically took one of those existing themes, changed its name to what I want, and I set the colors and the parameters to what I want, and I created a theme called Blackwire, and then I clicked Save, and now I have a theme called Blackwire. So when I go to the theme manager here, when I went in the page properties, my Blackwire one is actually down here, and I can see a thumbnail of it right there. The name comes up, and if I click OK, now all of the objects on my page share that theme. I'm going to click F5 so you can see what it really looks like in a browser, and this is what the theme looks like that I made. So again, they all share it. There's the hover state, there's the normal state. So that's how the theme manager works. You can make your own, use an existing one. It's just important to know that all jQuery objects share the theme. Now there's one other object that is not in the jQuery menu, but it still shares the jQuery theme. And the reason is because it's technically a jQuery object, but to make it less confusing for you, it's really a navigation object. So it's up here in the navigation menu, and it's called Mega Menu. So Mega Menu picks up the same theme that the jQuery objects do, the page theme. And so let me click F5 so you can see a demonstration of the Mega Menu. And you'll see that in fact, I'm going to move the camera down a little bit so you can see, because this will drop down, that the Mega Menu has picked up on that Blackwire theme that I'm using. So what's great about the theme is, besides being able to custom make your own, what's great about the concept of the theme is your website just looks better being consistent, having a common look among certain objects. And so it's a great idea to play with that. So again, to get there, you would go to Page Properties, right click, go to Page Properties, and then go to the Style tab, and there you can mess with the themes and go to the theme manager. There's another way to do it. Up in the main menu up here, if you go to the Tools menu, you'll see that there is a link to the theme manager directly. So if I click there, I'm back to where I can see the list of the themes, and I can either adjust it. If I wanted to adjust the theme, by the way, if I wanted to take smoothness and edit it, smoothness would be permanently edited. I'd rather not do that. I like to keep those the way they are, and then make copies of them so that I can make my own from there. But that's up to you. You can adjust those if you don't like them, or you want to create your own and make new ones. I've done that. Here's another one I made called Coit. Click OK, and I can use that one by applying it to the page. If I go to the Page Properties now, and I go to Style, and I go down here and I pick Coit right there, apply that. Now all of the objects on this particular page, and again, this is page specific. Now all of these objects use the Coit theme. I'll click F5 so you can see what I made, and it all shares these same attributes. Okay, so hopefully that helps you understand the way to use the themes and why it exists, and just help you make your website look clean and smooth and consistent. So enjoy using the theme manager in 90-Second Website Builder.